Hello, everyone. Welcome to our video today that is devoted to the topic of methodology of analyzing disinformation discourses. This video is a part of the project teaching disinformation discourses in the Lithuanian schools and universities. And today I'm here to discuss with you the guidelines or specific steps of how we should analyze disinformation discourses. So let me start. And for that, I would like to share my screen with you so that you get a better view what I want to share with you. So we divided our methodology procedure, if we can call it this way, into 4 main steps. So the first step is before you analyze or apply the methodology itself, you have to come up with what you want to analyze. And for that, you have to decide on the topic you are interested in. And this is the first step. Choose the topic that you're curious about. For example, maybe you're interested in environmental issues and we want to analyze environmental disinformation discourses about the environment or climate change. Maybe you're interested in the topic of vaccination and want to analyze anything related to pandemic or COVID-19. Maybe you are interested in politics and want to analyze 9/11 events or some terrorist attacks or any kind of political conspiracies. So choose the topic you're interested in. After you choose it, make a list of keywords related to the topic. Keywords are essential. They'll help you to find the tags that you need. Okay, let me give you an example of environment. And if my topic is environment, so come up with a list of keywords which are climate change, conspiracy, Bill Gates, probably because he is the central figure around whom conspiracies were created and built. Chips, this is one element of the conspiracies, etc. I make a list of keywords and then I search for the texts or for discourses where these keywords are used. I find those texts, I find those descriptions, and I copy paste these tags to the Word file. And it's necessary for me because after I have all these tags on my Word file, I can know how long they are, what is their overall word frequency is, and we also make the frequency list for these tags. Okay, we are almost ready for analysis. We chose the topic, we found the tags, we copy pasted them on the Word file, we made the frequency list, and now we are ready to move further. But also, you might be asking me, what kind of data sources should we look for? Where should we look for a text, in other words? And there are many possibilities where you can look for the text. You can go to different media websites and collect media articles with readers' comments on these articles. You can go on Twitter and collect tweets, or on Facebook, you collect Facebook posts. You can look for different online blogs where bloggers are discussing different issues related to different conspiracies. Or maybe there are some specific websites that are focusing on a specific conspiracy. Or you can look for YouTube videos and also analyze them as well. So after you decided on the text and you collected them and they're on your Word file, you move on to the most important 2 steps. And these are step 3 and step 4. In step 3, you do what is called coding. So you have to code your text. So by coding, we mean that the collected text, you have to code them. Or in other words, if I offer you a synonym for that, you highlight specific words or phrases or sentences that would correspond to semantic conspiracy markers. I will introduce them in a further slide. So you have to code your text. After you coded them, you coded and you identified certain features that you think refer to conspiracy narrative, that are of a conspiracy narrative. You can even create a conceptual map of these markers just to see how they all function, which is the most frequent, and how they are conceptually organized. And also, it is recommended that you calculate the frequency of those words that are used in reference to conspiracy narrative against the total number of words to see what is the proportion. And finally, the most interesting step is the analysis and discussion. After you came up with semantic markers and you identified which are the most frequent, you can think about the reasons why people get engaged in this conspiracy narrative, in these examples of a conspiracy narrative. So, other words, you can discuss the engagement factor. What is the engagement factor? How can this be done? We discuss a bit later. But now let's take a look at the semantic markers, and this is step number 3. So when you have your text that you have on your Word file and you collected them, one or a few texts, so you look for certain semantic associations or vocabulary or language use associated with 4 categories that we establish for you that will make your analysis easier. So the first category you can look for is the category of negative feelings. So you look for any words, expressions that are related to the concept of negative feelings, such as aggression, aggressive, anger, angry, confusion, confused, deception, hate, rage, fear, death, nervousness, any kind of emotional connotation, expression of emotional negative emotions. Another marker you can look for and try to code your text is the mark of distrust. So you can take a look at the vocabulary that refers to disappointment, deception, suffering, dominance, different hierarchies that people describe as disappointing hierarchies they no longer trust. The next semantic mark is the mark of personal values. However, I want to draw attention to the fact that in this category, personal values are represented as being under threat. So you look for any kind of vocabulary or lexes related to personality, family, friends, health, home, independence, occupation, religion, but it is crucial that these personal values are represented or described as being threatened. And the last one, last but not least, as we say, is a semantic mark of an external enemy. In the text, we must find reference, and we find it, we code it or highlight it if there is reference to an external enemy. And that external enemy can be referred to, there are different, people can have different reference for an enemy, such as a banking sector, business, or corporations, government, internet, etc. So who is the enemy? This is for you to find out. Okay, after you coded your text for semantic markers, as we mentioned in step number 4, now it's time to analyze and discuss what does it tell us about this kind of disinformation discourse. We came up with prevalent semantic markers, and as you remember, there are 4 categories for these that we offer to you: negative feelings, distrust, threatened personal values, and external enemy. And we try to see by analyzing this how these prevalent semantic markers correlate with the factors that actually drive people into this conspiracy engagement. If we find out that threatened personal values are more prominent, maybe the reasons or factors are personal. If we find a lot of reference to negative feelings, we can talk about psychological factors. If there is a lot of reference to distrust in social institutions, in the society, in social grouping, so we can talk about social factors. If there is a lot of reference to government and anti-government representation, when government becomes that external enemy, we can talk about the political reasons. And finally, we would also like to mention to you, when you collect your data sample, collect your text, make sure that you also make a distinction between 2 kinds of engagement into disinformation narrative. So the one is more passive, which is not as clearly represented. So when people do not actually when people just respond to some sort of conspiracies, they assent to one more beliefs if asked, but they don't initiate that. And then there is another category of expressing conspiracy attitude. This is more active engagement, when users tend to actively discuss and spread them very passionately online. And this is all for now, and I hope you enjoy this video. And in the next video, we are going to take a look at a few examples. How can this be precisely done step by step? I hope that was helpful for your analysis and for your projects. And tune in for our next recording where we give you a specific examples of disinformation texts and how exactly we coded those texts and what we came up with. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.